What do you think is happening with trans people then?
Well, there's a lot of different kinds of trans people.
Okay,
First
trans
of all,
men, or excuse me, trans women, men to female.
well, then I would say it depends on what period.
Dude, it is still kind of funny. Like, obviously, transphobia is not funny, but transphobic people trying to like talk about trans people in a way where like they can't immediately be fucking transphobic because they have to be descriptive is hilarious to watch, because he's like, he wants to be transphobic, but he can't be transphobic yet. You know what I mean? Because like he has to be descriptive, which is inherently the reason why people are like, it doesn't even make fucking like logistical sense to be transphobic. You know what I mean? Like, you can't simultaneously be transphobic and also and logically contextualize transphobia at the same time. So you have to like first establish the conversation in a non-transphobic way so that you can turn around and be transphobic. Does that make sense? Which is why this is a hilarious starting point. He's like, trans men. I mean, trans women that were men. Okay.
Period of time you're asking that question about. Right now, if you look at teenagers, for example, who want to switch genders, 95% of them are unbearably confused. That's what's causing that. And I think there's other reasons too. I think this is a conjecture. When the trans teenagers came after me when I opposed Bill C-16 in Canada on compelled speech grounds, I spent quite a bit of time watching them. And I already kind of knew about that fluid identity crowd. So when I was at Harvard, piercing and tattooing started to become a cultural rage. And I was interested in, well, who's doing this? Because I knew it was a practice that was limited to criminal subtypes and your life. And if you were a prisoner, same thing. But then all of a sudden it started to make its inroads into the popular culture. So we studied a group of early adopters of tattooing and piercing from the perspective of personality. Like, who are these people? And they were all highly creative people. Well, and creativity is a trait. And all people who aren't creative, that's wrong. In fact, most people aren't creative at all. And I can explain that later, but they're not. We developed a scale called the Creative Achievement Questionnaire, which assesses lifetime contribution to 13 different creative domains. And that your scores would range from 0, I have no training or talent in this area, to, I think it was 8. I'm an internationally recognized expert in this area, right? And so...
We didn't watch all of it. We watched some of the trans takes. We didn't watch all of the trans takes. Like, Jordan Peterson saying that trans people are just like super creative, like all trans people are super creative, and that it's just simply their...
Well, and creativity is a trait, and all people who aren't creative, that's wrong. In fact, most people aren't creative at all. And I can explain that later, but they're not. We developed a scale called the Creative Achievement Questionnaire, which assesses lifetime contribution to 13 different creative domains. And that your scores would range from 0, I have no training or talent in this area, to, I think it was 8.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Jordan Peterson, once again, just absolutely fucking nailing it, dude. That's why I always love asking, sexless nerds what it's like to be with women and like how to best conduct myself around women. And that's why I like to ask Jordan Peterson what the trans experience is like. A man who has never been around trans people, only in like a debate has he ever been around trans people, and a man who has never even seen trans people as like fully developed human beings. And that's precisely why, before you say maybe watch it first, I already watched this part, okay? That's precisely why it's hilarious when he says like, trans people are actually incredibly creative with their gender identity, and that's just what they're doing. They're being creative. It's like, bro, have you met 0 like trans people in the fucking STEM field? Okay? I'm sorry to all my fucking, trans STEM lords, but some of you don't have an ounce of creativity in your fucking body, okay? You don't have a single fucking creative bone. It's just the truth, okay? It's ridiculous that this dumbass is like, oh, trans people are all so creative. It's like, he literally just thinks like trans people are the meme, like the blue-haired SJW meme.
8.
You see? Okay, there it is. Implying science isn't creative, smile. Implying science isn't creative, smile. See? This is exactly the type of person I'm talking about, okay?
I'm an internationally recognized expert.
Losing
in
their
this
shit.
area. Right. And so 70% of people, if you sum their scores across all 13 domains, scored 0. And I ask audiences, like, how many portraits have you painted? 0. How many songs have you composed? 0. How many plays have you written? 0. How many recipes have you...
Well, yeah, this is a bad take. Dude, come on. I'm fucking... Let me joke, please. STEM lords and neurodivergent people just understanding sarcasm and joke challenge impossible difficulty for 1 second, okay? Please, 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 please. It's a joke. Obviously, being a fucking STEM lord doesn't immediately stop you from being creative. Please, can I just say something without you guys fucking losing your shit? Holy fuck, dude. Holy fuck. Not allowed. No jokes. No jokes. Do not ever. I'm creative and I totally can understand art and context and subtext, but also in this situation, I'm gonna not understand it and show you how fucking creative I am.
Let me stop you.
So the tattooed types are high. They were high in creativity.
Okay.
And a lot of these people who are fluid in their identity are actually high in trait openness, and they do have fluid identities. And some of them are feminine men and masculine women. So yeah, but that doesn't mean that surgery is the cure.
I love that. It's like trans women are just they're femboys that went to fem. That's what it is. Yeah, that's how this works. A good take from Jordan. It's like, I mean, he is such a fucking boring old turf, dude. This is like straight up. I mean, he's not even a radical feminist, but like this is the exact same idea that rad femmes have, where they're like, you know, why can't women be fucking butch anymore? Like, women can't be butch lesbians anymore. It's like they all have to be trans men. It's like there's an entirely there are still fucking butch lesbians, okay? And two, it's like a totally separate thing. It's a totally separate thing. What you're describing is a totally separate thing.
For that it does not mean that. Not at all.
Well, what do you think it means when someone is so attracted to the idea that they were born in the wrong body? It means so much. They're so compelled that they're willing to go through surgery to change.
God, it means all sorts of things. I knew a kid in...
To be fair, some of JP's takes would be make banger live posting tweets. Yeah, that's the funny part, is that like, yeah, it's like he's been watching too much live posting or following live posting's Twitter account too hard, and like took everything as a certainty.
Toronto, who was on the autistic spectrum, and a lot of the people who are manifesting serious issues with gender identity are on the autistic spectrum.
This is like Abigail Schreier's work and rapid onset gender.
We watched this yesterday. It's crazy. Okay, what have we established so far? You know, trans people do not exist. They're just, you know, incredibly femme men. Okay, they're femboys, and they're mass girls. Okay, that's just how it is. And also, everyone's autistic. Yeah.
Dysphoria amongst women.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing, the rapid onset. That's more like... So part of the reason I objected to Bill's...
Now it's turning more from a live posting bit to like a come town bit, pretty much.
16 to begin with was because I knew full well as a clinician that as soon as we messed with fundamental sex categories and changed the terminology, we would fatally confuse thousands of young girls. I knew that because I knew the literature on psychological contagion, and it stretches back like 500 years.
And now we get to the best part, okay? The best part is when he's like, I, Jordan Peterson, have already dropped 2 fucking knowledge bombs in the span of 3 minutes where I said, transness does not exist. You're either a femboy or a butch girl, okay? And it's because you're really creative, and that creativity is seeped into your gender identity. And also you're autistic. Now he's going to turn this around and be like, it's just like, you know, contagion. Like when women started going into the workplace, I'm now going to be also misogynistic on top of my transphobia.
Here's that literature, 300 years. It's all outlined in a book by Henri Ellenberger called History of, what's the name of the book? History of Psychoanalytic Ideas. It doesn't matter. It's Henri Alain Berger, and it's his main work if you want to look it up. And so psychological contagions are very common. And so one of them, for example, was the satanic ritual abuse accusations that emerged in daycares in the 1980s. And that was a consequence of women going into the workforce en masse, leaving their children with strangers and starting to have pathological fantasies about it, especially if they were borderline schizophrenic. And those fantasies propagated into the population.
So what does this have to do with creativity?
I love that take. It's such a good take, dude. Yeah, I did pre-watch it. I watched it yesterday. It's like it wasn't enough that he was being transphobic. Then he was like, it's also the women that went into the workplace that created the satanic panic. It's awesome. That is just like, you can't make a combo like that, okay? He literally did a combination. He's like a fighting games community champion, okay? He just like added on additional seasoning to his transphobic takes in a way that was like unnecessary, but he wanted to get the style points out, you know? Respect.
You were talking about creativity in people that are...
Well, okay, so you see people with blue hair, the blue-haired crowd.
Uh-huh.
Well, they're the same people that were doing tattooing and piercing, and they often are literally the same people because they have piercings. It's like, well, they have mutable identities. They're not stable in their identities. They're creative. Creative people, by definition, aren't stable in their identities. That's what makes them creative. Now, the downside of that is creativity is a high risk, high return.
Wait, I'm about to do something here, and this is completely unrelated to the JP stuff. Hold on one second. Wait, is this it? Nope. That was not what I was going to do. Hold on. How the fuck do I mirror this? Because people have been crying about this a lot. Oops, I flipped it vertically. I want to mirror the... Oh, here. I think this will work. Hold on. Are you ready for this? I hope it works. Is it better? Is it better? Or did it fuck it up more? Is it worse? And now I'm looking at the screen. I feel like this was breaking people's brains, you know? You look weird. I feel like I look weird now. I look weird when I flipped, and Obama looks weird too. But at least I'm looking at the fucking camera, or at least I'm now looking at the video, it seems like. This is a rare Hasanabi.
Okay. Strategy. Your new idea is probably stupid and wrong, and maybe it's fatal. But now and then it's unbelievably successful. And also, now and then, our culture would die without it. So we always have this problem because we have to maintain stability, because otherwise everything degenerates into chaos. But mere stability won't work because the future is different from the past. Like technically different in a non-deterministic way. It's actually different. And so then we have to figure out, well, how do we modify our memories or our traditions at a rate that enables us to keep up with the culture? And the answer to this is, in part, we let creative people play multiple games on the fringe, and some of them are radically successful, and then we copy them.
So you think...
He's saying that trans people are at the forefront of leading culture and changing culture, and sometimes the creatives that change culture... This is your brain on too much like anti-materialist thought, okay? That, you know, the creatives are actually changing culture, they're shaping culture, and trans people are creative, which we already established, okay? That's a premise that we already established. They're artistic and autistic, okay? But they don't exist. They're not real, but they're also artistic and autistic, the femboys and the mass gals, okay? And they are incredibly creative, too creative sometimes, and that's why they have invented new gender identities, which is hilarious because Jordan Peterson is transracial, technically, when he talks about his like indigenous, his indigenous background, which does not exist. Many white people do this, right? And if he truly was indigenous, okay, if he actually was a member of truly a member of the First Nation tribe that he claims to be a part of, then he would recognize that, like, trans culture, if that was a cultural thing, okay, is not new, okay? The idea that it's like, oh, this is a new thing that trans people are inventing. Well, indigenous people kind of did that for a long time. So how do you not know that? There's a concept called a two-spirit, okay, which is quite literally what he is referencing, okay? So even as a fake native, he should know this, but he doesn't, okay? Like this idea that like transness as a concept is new and made up completely avoids, centuries of trans literature, trans people, depictions of transness in media, and in all the way down to like fucking tribes, okay, that are completely devoid of Western culture. So, again, just so idiotic. LMFAO, trans literature. I mean, yeah, okay. So there have, of course, been a lot of fucking trans people that have existed. It's like gay people that have also existed. Shocking. It's more so that like we are now recognizing that these people exist. But there was a lot of research conducted on this subject matter leading up to World War II, where the Nazis actually burned the first books they ever burned were books on trans people, trans existence, and medical journals on trans people. So ironic that Jordan Peterson once again is one, benefiting from the lack of knowledge on trans existence to launch his incorrect arguments about trans people, and he is also talking about free speech, which he's an advocate for free speech, but like the reason why he doesn't know a lot about trans people is because Nazis burned the books.
That a lot of what's going on with people that want to change their gender identity is creativity?
No, I don't think so.
So
even Joe Rogan is like, that sounds
what do you,
I know
crazy.
so.
You know so.
Yeah, that's not all of it, but that's definitely part of it.
But there are for sure a lot of people that transition, and there has been work on this that shows that if they didn't transition, they wanted to transition at one point in time, and then they eventually wound up becoming gay men.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
definitely
males
the case.
to females,
yeah, well, it's
right?
confusing. Look, I
What?
mean, I also think, by the way, that part of what we're seeing in late adolescence with this insistence on the primacy of felt identity.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
A lot of people that transition, and there has been work on this that shows that if they didn't transition, they wanted to transition at one point in time, and then they eventually wound up becoming gay men.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
definitely
males
the
to
case.
females,
yeah, well, it's
right?
confusing. Look, I mean, I also think, by the way, that part of what we're seeing in late adolescence with this insistence on.
How did he take a real study conducted on like how did he take a real study conducted on trans people greatly improving their living conditions as a consequence of like social acceptability, and many studies that have been conducted about like transition or gender confirmation that is incredibly helpful, and turn it into something that is incredibly transphobic again? He's saying trans women are gay men is like, how do you do that? How do you take like actual empirical evidence that shows that gender confirmation surgery is very helpful? And even beyond gender confirmation, what's even more important than gender confirmation surgery is that acceptance, trans acceptance in the immediate friends and family and social circles is like greatly diminishes the likelihood of suicidality. Is really fucking interesting.
On the primacy of felt identity
Mm-hmm.
is the reemergence of suppressed fantasy play that should have taken place at between, say, 3 and 5. that's been suppressed by the imposition of technological artifacts like television and phones, and by the absence of free play among children who are.
It's also so funny because, like, listen, here's also interesting. Like, because you don't know anything about trans people, you're just like, you're the only thing you know about trans people is like memes that you've seen, like transphobic memes that you've seen. So you quite literally refuse to acknowledge the existence of many trans women who are lesbians. Okay? So there's also that part of the equation that they're just like completely fucking avoiding. You know what I mean? There's a fuckload of trans women that are lesbians. Now, of course, TERFs don't avoid that because they say those are rapist men that want to, steal women away from the unlikable TERF lesbians, okay, that are destined for a lifetime of hurt and pain and anger and being alone with their cats. So, they just fucking lash out against the more likable trans women that also happen to be lesbians. But these two dudes have no idea that even exists because they're not even well read enough on the fucking TERF literature.
Primacy of felt identity is the reemergence of suppressed fantasy play that should have taken place at between, say, 3 and 5. That's been suppressed by the imposition of technological artifacts like television and phones, and by the absence of free play among children who are hyper-supervised.
So the fantasy play is imperative to develop your identity by trying out a bunch of different patterns of behavior
Yes, exactly.
and ways to be.
Yes, so when my son was about...
I mean, how is it any different than like fucking Ross Douthat or whatever, any kind of fucking reactionary psycho basically saying like phones are forcibly feminizing us? You know what I mean? In the 90s version of that quite literally is, all this technology is making us gay. That's it. That's what this is. It's just like all of that is so stupid. And also it's bad, by the way. Like I keep forgetting to add that like phones are forcibly feminizing us and that's bad. And also phones are forcibly making us gay and that's bad. It's like, who cares if fucking people are gay or trans? Even if people were turning, okay? Which is not a real concept. But let's say it was. And this is the other part that I always have a hard time with. Like, if being a homosexual was a choice, or being trans was a choice, why the fuck are they, which it's not, and I have to be clear on this, it certainly is not, okay? Why the fuck is that somehow bad? Why? Why is that bad? It's not true. It's not a choice. But even if it was, why is that bad?
2, his sister was about 3 and had a little gaggle of friends, and they used to dress him up like a fairy princess. And this didn't happen for like years. It happened for a couple of weeks, and he was playing along. And I went down there, and I'm a Northern Albertan, and so the gender roles there were fairly finely defined. And I was watching this, I thought, what the hell are you doing? I'll beat the shit out of you, son. You're a Northern Albertan. Now go fuck this fracking juice that I made right now. Go drink that fracking cum immediately, bucko. Is it really a good thing that he's fracking juice up? Like got wings on, a little fairy hat and a wand and a dress? Is that okay? And I talked to Tammy about it. I said, the girls are dressing Julian up like a princess. And it kind of...
Wait, did you guys actually think that it was him who said that? Shut the fuck up. Stop. I'm not that good, dude. I think you guys are joshing. I think you guys are clowning, dude. No shot you thought I was being serious. Oh my God, that's fucking fire. I love that.
I have qualms about it, but I'm not sure what to do, because he was having a good time and he was playing with the girls. And
what qualms would you possibly have about that? Because from my personal experience of having daughters,
yeah,
they think it's funny to put me in a dress.
It is funny.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there was a dress that my wife was throwing out, and my daughters made me put it on. They
Yeah.
forced me to, and they took pictures of me.
Yeah, I bet
they thought
that
it was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. My daughter decorated me up like a woman one day in her makeup class. And
Right.
there's a
So what's
favorite-
wrong with that? Nothing, right?
Well, that's
just fun.
No, well, that's it. That's what I
Right.
concluded. You know, I thought, well,
But why would you worry about anything else other than it being fun?
well, probably because I had. Why was I worried about it? I suppose because I hoped that his time and he was playing with the girls and
What qualms would you possibly have about that? Because from my personal
Oh, they're
experience
probably-
of having daughters,
yeah.
they think it's funny to
Why
put me
were
in a
you
dress.
worried about it? Huh? What made you worry about it? One of my favorite types of transphobia and homophobia is when they will turn around and be like, well, it's because society is really mean and rough to those who are trans. And that's why, it's a choice. And also, that's why I tell them not to choose to be trans. And it's like, well, is society mean and rough to trans people, like by design? Or have you turned it into that and refused to fucking, offer any restitution or stop doing that?
It is funny.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there was a dress that my wife was throwing out, and my daughters made me put it on. They
Yeah.
forced me to, and they took pictures of me.
Yeah, I bet
they thought
that
it was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. My daughter decorated me up like a woman one day in her makeup class. And
Right.
there's a
So what's
favorite-
wrong with that? Nothing, right?
Well, that's
just
what
fun.
No, well, that's it. That's what I
Right.
concluded. You know, I thought, well,
But why would you worry about anything else other than it being fun?
well, probably because I had. Why was I worried about it? I suppose because I hoped that his pathway towards adulthood would be.
Normal?
Yeah, sure.
Skip the last 10 seconds. Don't ask why there's a gun pointed to my head. Did you put a poop sock in here? Okay. Do you have part 2 or no?
Normal biological male progression to
Yeah. And so I saw
marriage
this
and
playing,
children.
but then I
Yeah.
thought, I only had qualms for like about 2 hours. I went and thought about it. I thought, okay, what's going on here? Well, he's playing with the girls. Okay, should he play with girls? Yes. Definitely. He should play with girls. Absolutely. Adult males should play with women. Like, we should be able to play with people.
What the fuck? Yo, he's going Jokar mode, dude. It's crazy. He's going full-blown Jokar mode here. Look at this. Look at his face.
Okay, should he play with girls? Yes. Definitely.
Definitely.
He should play with girls. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Adult males should play with women. Like, we should be able to play with people of the opposite sex. Like, so he's learning to play with the girls. Good. Is he enjoying it? Yes. Are they bullying him? No. Are the girls enjoying it? Yes.
How do you feel about trans women in women's sports? Do you feel they have an advantage over other women, even more if they spend most of their life as a male? This is one of the most transphobic takes from JR, by the way. Is there any talking points against it? What the fuck is a normal biological male? What the fuck, Rogan? I have said this time and time again, and people get like very mad at me because they say I have a very, in my opinion, a very like focused on the normative fucking approach stance to this conversation. Okay? I don't care. And I think you're weird for caring. That's my immediate answer. And people get very upset at this. Some people think that, no, you're supposed to be like, bringing primary sources to the forefront of the conversation and tell them blah, 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 blah. Like, not only do I not care, and I think you're weird for caring because it's not even a little transphobic, it's just you're transphobic for caring because you don't even know who like the second place is or the third place is. You don't even know who the trans person supposedly quote unquote stole the title from. You don't care. And same with combat sports, everything. I don't care. Again, combat sports, I don't care. Weightlifting, I don't care. It's silly. Okay? It's a super silly argument to make. Like, trans women are women. As a lawyer, this argument, which doesn't make sense, hurts my entire being. Oh, God. Lawyers are debate lords to the maximum, as we've talked about before. Trans women are women. No one is fucking secretly like faking being trans to win at sports. Okay? That's it. Like, you have to unironically feel or believe that, like, people are somehow faking it to become trans because it's a choice to play against women and defeat them. And you couldn't do it against cis men, so you decided to do it against cis women as a trans man. And that is transphobic. I don't care equals facts don't align with me. No, even if in certain circumstances, in certain sports, if trans women do have a competitive advantage, especially if they went through confirmation later, okay, I still do not care. I do not care because I do not care when someone is taller than another person in other sports. I do not care when a person has, the webbed feet and webbed fucking hands that make it that make it so that they're better swimmers. I do not care when you can swim faster because of that. I do not care if you have a longer wingspan. And therefore, I do not care if someone is a trans woman playing against or competing against cis women. That's it. And I don't know why people look to that and go, that's fucking bullshit. You're off the money on this one, Hasan. No, I don't think I am. And to the people who say trans women are not women, they're trans women. My point is make a trans women section. To do what? So what? Is like the one trans female swimmer going to compete with the one trans fucking curler? Is that what we're going to do? Because there's like 3 of them. The entire point of this conversation is to just stop trans people from competing in sports. That's it. And it's just one other avenue. It is one other avenue to just say, yeah, I don't know. I don't think they should do that. Why don't you just bring up the integrity of the sport argument? Isn't it literally the same shit they're doing for this? Yeah, no, that is precisely what it is. If people say integrity of the sport. And that's why I always say, you do not have a problem with the integrity of the sport when it comes to people with biological advantages. You just do not consider being trans to be biological. That's it. You think it's unnatural. That's where it comes from. That's quite literally where it comes from. You just don't care about sports is also silly, okay? That's it. And there are people in my community who have been in like long-term subs who think it's my worst take or whatever the fuck, because the unfortunate reality is that transphobia is super, super, super fucking common. It is the normative position, and people cannot get out of that. Like, people cannot escape that. So much so that they will turn around and look at like examples of fucking, I don't know, seventh grade female swimmers or some shit to be like, look, there it is. This person, this 7th grader won a swimming competition in the relay race. Obviously, trans women have a natural advantage. So I find it really fucking stupid. Okay, I find it really stupid to harp on it over and over again, especially when trans women aren't even fucking dominating. They're not. A lot of them suck, okay? But the one time where there is a trans woman that's good, you talk about it for 3 years. It's so dumb. Make sports fair. Countries can't compete against each other to account for any differences. So that's why I say this. So we end gendered sports, period. I mean, we could, but no. If you don't want to end gendered sports, that's fine. Like, I don't care. We could. But the ultimate reality is that, yes, men would fucking dominate women in most sports. Most sports that people watch. I get that. I agree. That's not like, you know, that's just true. I understand. Some trans women are going to have advantages over cis women. That is variety, okay? That is the spice of life. That makes sports beautiful and wonderful, okay? Fun and wonderful. But if you truly are fearful that like the integrity of sports are going to be destroyed by like 8 total trans women competing against cis women across like every fucking category, you are psychopathic. And even out of those 8, it doesn't even matter because like there's only one that is like successful in their own respective field once every 3 years, and then motherfuckers can't shut the fuck up about it. They're like, oh, look, there it is. So the problem is trans women aren't dominating. So what happens when they do start dominating and take over the sport from the males who earn the spot to work hard? Wait, what? From the males who earned the spot and worked hard? Are you going to allow trans women from taking away their hard work? What? It's almost like taking away the top of the hour ad break from non-subs. I can't believe this dude take what the fuck. I was like, what the fuck are you saying? God damn it, it was a fucking bait. Stop calling me transphobic just because you disagree with me. I mean, look, I think you are. Okay? I think you are. Yes, trans women are women, but we should forget that there was a time when they were not because having more testosterone in your body makes a bit difference. Please stop calling people transphobic for disagree with you. Here's my take on this. And this like triggers the fuck out of people, okay? You are a little transphobic, but fear not, chatter. 1, you don't have to be forever. And 2, more importantly, you're transphobic as a consequence of your conditioning, okay? And the normative position is transphobic. So that's precisely why you are operating on a transphobic POV on this issue. You're not as transphobic as those who are like, let's literally murder trans people. You are not as transphobic as someone who's like, I refuse to fucking, you know, call someone the gender pronoun that they want, but you're still, you're still kind of transphobic. That's it. Because the ultimate idea, once again, the ultimate idea comes from the competitive advantage that someone is taking on that you consider to be unnatural. If you consider trans people to be natural, okay, like trans women are naturally women, like they have to undergo certain processes, but ultimately they are still women, okay? What we understand to be women, which is the concept of womanhood, is an arbitrary one regardless. But if you think that they are unnatural and it's akin to taking PEDs and it's just like people fucking, it's a biological advantage that should not exist, then you're basically saying they should not exist. And even then, there are, oh God, we've talked about this so many times. Even then, there is a variety, right? There is a variety. There is a variety of T levels in cis men that people rarely ever talk about. There's a variety in T levels in trans women, and most institutions try to account for that regardless by trying to regulate the level of testosterone in people's bloods. Just stop. You're badly explaining a good take. I'm not badly explaining a good take. But it is very triggering when you say I'm badly explaining it And also, you do have the, you know, opportunity to get the fuck out of here and never be in this community ever again. Sorry, it's my fucking space, you know? And I think that I am doing a pretty good job of describing this, as I have done over and over again, especially because maybe I'm not describing it to your, tailoring it to your personal and specific needs, but there are straight up thousands of people that were transphobic in this community that are no longer transphobic. So clearly I'm doing a better job than you and your dumb Redditor ass. Okay? There are trans people in here who want me to never even discuss this conversation. They want me to like just move on because it creates so many people, or rather it reminds them that there are so many fucking transphobic people in this community. I respect your view on this, but calling me transphobic is a bit much. I know they are natural. It's just not that, though. What about bones, muscles, etc.? But the reason why this is transphobic is because you quite literally have never made this argument. Unless you make the same exact argument for people that have biological advantages when playing basketball that are taller than others. Unless you make this argument for people's material conditions greatly improving, like their diets greatly improving their chances of making it big in a certain sport. Unless you are straight up advocating for normalization, which is ironic because it's equality of outcome, okay? Unless you're straight up advocating for equality of outcome in every fucking field, in every sport, this argument singling out trans people as like an unnatural phenomena in sports, albeit a super tiny one regardless, is inherently transphobic. It comes from the false notion that you believe that like trans people are somehow cheating, like they chose to be trans women. And that's why they chose to be trans women just so they can win in an athletic competition. And these arguments are not all that different from people who originally said black women or black men have genetic advantages to non-black competitors. And that's part of the reason why they shouldn't be a part of the competition. This is always going to be an argument against integration. It's an insane straw man. It's not, though. You keep pointing to PEDs, or you keep pointing to like bone density. You keep pointing to fucking. You keep pointing to the advantages, the genetic advantages that trans women have over cis women. Okay, it's not a new argument. That's the reason why I say I don't care.